Okay, so we should be live, and this is another second stream of the day, but I'm going to cut them by subject. And today here, the subject, in this live stream, the subject is going to be Rust and SQLite. So basically what I need to do is I'm preparing a video, I've been preparing it for a long time, about Rust and SQLite. Because SQLite is amazing, and with Rust, it fits extremely well, and there's a cool crate on it. So that is what I want to talk about today. And in fact, what I want to do today is the way I'm creating my examples. And so when I do a video, I need to have a little story to from simple to a little bit more complicated. And it's the same way that I learn for myself as well. So often I do that for myself, and then I say, oh, that would be good to do a video. So today I'm going to start from scratch, and then we're going to build this kind of script in a way. And then after I will make a video of it, which will be probably between 15 to 25 minutes or something like that. So that is going to be the goal of that session right now. So the way, and feel free to chat here. You should see the chat. Hopefully you should see that if I didn't mess up anything. And then we're going to start. So what I'm starting usually is with this mode where I have Rust XP, and that is my Rust XP, like experiment, exploration, examples, whatever you want. But that is the XP, and that is where I learn things. So in fact, if I do an open, if I go and open the folder, no, not this one, sorry. This guy, a little bit small here, fortunately, I don't know how to make them bigger. But this is all of my Rust XPs that I have. So I have XPs, this is annoying. I have XP for like here PDF, the parser, OpenCV, OpenAI back in the days, Olama. I have all of the SQLX, SerialDB, which is very old now, and all these kind of things, even UUID. And then I have a specific one here, which is my XP00 basics. And so in this one, I have a lot of things. So if I go to examples, you see all of the examples over there. So without going too much into that, and I have a video about my 5 steps for learning where I go through that in a better way. So the goal here is I want the XP, and the way that I'm creating it. So first I'm going to have the git ignore, because I like to have things in git all the time. I'm using my Rust 10x extension. So this is that extension which has my snippets. So basically, rather to just do it for me, I put it in an extension and I put it there. So that is what I have. And so this is why when I go to my git ignore, I have this, and I can have my git ignore for minimum or more. So I'm going to take this one. And what it does here, and it's all my projects are like that, I have a kind of a best practice. Everything that starts with dot, I don't allow it. I'm going to answer the question here later. Does SQLite have a migration? I'm going to answer this question later. But this is my way. So I ignore everything which starts with dot, except dot ignore. So the strategy that I have is I have to opt in. Then I have the same thing with underscore. So that is just my way of working. And then I'm trying to, I move the slash from the back to the front to be more aggressive in a way. Yeah, it grabs more. So if I have a mono repo with some target below, it will get cut as well. Otherwise, they will get in, and once a big file is in, it's a pain to remove. It's possible, but it's a pain. I remove the .cargo because sometimes I have environment variable there. This is a cool DevAI stuff. I'm making a video on that. Use DevAI is awesome. And then I have all of these things. So I'm trying to have like a safety net in a way. It's not, you know, there's probably better approach, but it works pretty well. So now once I have that, I'm going to do my cargo to ML, and then you guessed it. And again, this is just my practice. You can have your own. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to do a Rust. Okay, so this is interesting. I'm not going to do a Rust XP. I'm going to do XP SQLite. And you're going to understand why. So the name of the folder is Rust Sqlite, because what I like to do all the time is when I am a new VS Code here, and this is why it's very hard for me to move out of VS Code, because I'm like so productive with VS Code, because I can change project very fast. So I create a new VS Code and then I can do XP like that. And I know that it's all of the XP of Rust, because sometimes I might have Node XP, sometimes I have not Node, but JS XP, or sometimes I have experiment in other languages. But right now, these days, for the last year, everything was in Rust. But I like to prefix it with Rust. Now, what I don't want, I mean, I can, but I don't need to prefix it here. Because in fact, the way that I'm using it is that we're going to create a lib, actually. So that allows me, so I'm going to toggle this on, because I do not want to show the unused while I'm coding. I don't need the noise. And now with the new, since a while back, you need to do this way here, because otherwise these two overlap each other. And then for my part, I like to forbid myself unsafe. Usually I never code unsafe, but I forbid myself unsafe. And I will explain why if someone asks the question. But right now, then I do a source, and I'm going to do a lib.rs. And so that is a trick. I'm not putting stuff on main. I want the things on lib, because all of our code, if you have seen my videos for the last year, they are in examples. And in the examples, we are going to have our C01 simple, for example, .rs. And C like chapter, it could be E or whatever, it doesn't really matter. But that is where I'm going to put, and I think I have a template here, is where I'm going to put all of my code. And then I will go step by step, such as I can write a little story here of what we want to learn. And usually I take this one and I copy to C02. Okay, so that's my process. And then I have a cargo watch or a beacon. Here we can use beacon. For test, I still use cargo watch test, because it was better with the no capture. For these kind of things, the beacon is pretty cool. So I'm going to do a beacon run, dash quiet. I don't like noise, dash example, dash example, C01, simple. And now we're in business. So that is a state I like. Yeah, I like to be able to be super iterative and so on. So now it goes back to SQLite has migration. I do not think that SQLite, and I don't know specifically. I'm not sure they have, in a way. If you use SQLX, they have a migration inside the library. I come from the cloud things, and the cloud things, I don't trust anybody to do data migration, ever. I don't want a lib, I don't want a developer somewhere else like saying, hey, I'm going to do a diff between two objects or two things, and then I'm going to update the database. In production, cloud, enterprise, your database is gold. You manage it, you write the SQL. Obviously, you don't go and you don't drive to Amazon and change the bits, yeah? You have to write SQL to update it. But you own your SQL, you structure your SQL, you organize your SQL, and you are the one updating, adding, altering tables. You don't have a tool. You can use a tool to do it if you want, but it generates code, and then you validate the code, and the script run pure SQL that you can read and understand. It's not a magic thing that someone did somewhere. That's my approach. Now, on the SQLite side, it's a different beast, and honestly, it's not my core expertise, because let's say that you do a SQLite. You have two ways to look at SQLite. One, it's a disposable way. So every time you create a new database for this runtime, and that could be good in the cloud edge. The other way is you have a desktop app or a mobile app, and in this case, you have to migrate up. And that is tricky because sometimes a user might upgrade 3 versions or 5 versions down the road. So you have to have a good strategy here of how you bring up the things. And this is a whole topic by itself. And the migration tool, I'm very careful about it because it looks simple at the beginning. And then if you go haywire, then it creates big problems. So that's my take. If there's desktop developer here and they've been doing that, this is perfect. So the SQLite stuff, having a libraries that upgrade for you because you understand whatever, usually that's not my style. And again, in all my videos and everything, I do not believe in truth. I believe in proximity. There's many different good ways of doing the same things. So as long as we are consistent with our way, we should be fine. We just need to think it through, yeah? So where do you put the complexity? What you own and what you don't own. Yeah, so that is always a trick. And it's not because we don't own it that the complexity goes away. Yeah, so that is the thing here we need to see. So for me, I like to go more native and have control on my database. And this is actually a good topic, which is and so that is Roberto. That is a good thing. See, typically the way it is done, you are right. Migrations are part of the tools, ORMs kind of things. This is where my approach, and I'm not saying I have the absolute truth. It's very appealing to let the tools do it, but it's also very dangerous in many ways. Yeah. So for me, I like to manage database with SQL, and then the rest is just a view on it. Could be Rust, could be Go, could be Java, could be JavaScript, doesn't really matter. But the source of truth is a SQL. And SQL is well defined enough, such as we don't need a meta language to alter tables. Yeah, so that's my take. But again, there might be different perspective. So to that point, for me, and that is related. So actually, it's a very good question here. So to that point, the libraries that we're going to look at is going to be Rust Sqlite. And I really like Rust Sqlite. It's very well done. Oh, they updated 33. That's pretty cool. We're 32. So I think they updated to the latest version. Okay, that's cool. So we'll do that. And so we're going to use that. And that means that they released, if you go to SQLite releases, in 2024, I grew to be a big fan of SQLite. And there's many things that the more I've learned about SQLite, the more I know is like, wow, these developers, they really know what they're doing. There's a very silly thing where you see good quality development, I think, is a release history. Because I'm not a C expert. Probably when they fix bugs, I don't understand what they're talking about. But when you read that, it's really user friendly and there's a lot of details. And you look at their release cycle and it's pretty neat. Yeah. So for me, it looks to be a good, solid library to rely on. And so they added quite a bit of stuff. So they update, I think, once a year or something like that, the minor version. And usually Rust Sqlite is, a few months behind, which is no big deal. And here I think they are like 33. So I do think it's going to be the latest one, which means that they have been super fast. I think it will be the 348. There's not a big change between 348. There's one, the 47 was a big one where it was in JSON-B or something like that. So back to, I don't know how I came to that. Back to this one. So we're going to use that guy, and actually we're going to copy that over there. Okay, so I copy this and I'm going to put it there. Okay, so that should compare the things. And I think it's because I'm not using it. I don't know. So in Rust Sqlite, the way it works is you put bundled because they do all of the hard work to bundle the C compiled version inside our binary. So this is very cool. And that is one of the great benefits of SQLite, is because SQLite has a Armageddon or something like that, which is the whole SQLite is one C files. And it looks silly like that, but it's actually then after it makes it extremely simple for many clients to embed it into their own things. So that is, so I think is what they are using here, and it's pretty cool. So then we're going to go and we're going to do that. We're going to open. That is a pretty good one. And then we're going to execute the query here to create a table. And then we are going to insert something. So I already have my own little script here somewhere. So we're going to do that. So we have the Rust Sqlite, and actually I'm going to have another one. Is going to be the dev dependencies. And don't worry, I'm not selling this one. I don't make any money on that. So I think it's pretty SQLite. You don't have to use it. This is just a way to print a table in a nice way. So when you do like little things, it's good. I created that a while back. You can cherry pick the code and put it in your own. It doesn't really matter. So that allows us to, we just can print a SQL, or we can print a table like that. And so it's pretty neat, because then when we do development, it's a nice way to have everything in our terminal. So we are going to have that guy as well. And again, if you are in production, in production, usually you don't need that. But I wouldn't even use, I would cherry pick the code and you put it in your own things. Yeah. So I just put it there. So like this, I didn't have to. It doesn't work because it's 0.31. Fair enough. So we're not going to do that. I will show you how to do it. Yeah, we'll do it the hard way. So that's fine. I will perhaps update it to 0.03 to have the latest one. So that was a pretty cool news today, that we have that. So going to do that. And so usually the where learn Rust Sqlite. I go there and I'm going to, so I have this thing. So I have a code here that I want, because it's a good code here. And I'm going to do, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. So we're going to have, and so this is his code here. It's pretty good here. It's the same one, but a little bit more. So I'm going to do this. And then the cool thing again is that for file, you just do that. And it just works. Just stare it on the file, and it's super robust. It's amazing. So now we do this, Rust Sqlite stuff. Then we have our hello world here, but we just didn't do anything. It's just in memory. So the easiest way is in memory. Now, remember, it's because in the git ignore, I ignore underscore and everything. I could do something like, actually, let's do that. It's a live stream. We don't have to be too. Then I'm going to do something like that, which is my db3. So usually I think that is a convention. And boom, it creates the db3 over there. And then, so here I create 2. Yeah, obviously you wouldn't do that. And that will create it. And if it's already created, it does all the magic. So this is already a huge thing compared to files where the SQLite is a gem. So we're going to use the in-memory because both are so close, it doesn't really matter. The nice thing with in-memory is every time you restart, you don't have to delete anything. You know you start from scratch, for fresh. Now, if you go there, we see that they have this connection here where you create a table. So we're going to do that. And we're going to do the person, I guess. And that will create the tables like that. Yeah, we're going to do that. And I think I'm going to add one thing. I want to add one thing. and you are going to understand why. We are going to add, I want to add an integer. Yeah, so there's few type, and we're going to add an integer. And it's not going to be level, we're going to call it year of birth. Yob. Yeah, year of birth. Okay, so it doesn't matter. It has to be, I think I can do that. I should be able to do that. It has to just be something that makes sense in a person. So year of birth, let's say we don't want to capture the date and everything, but at least a year. So that will be one. And then we'll say year of birth. Okay. So we have that, it works and it's good. And I'm going to show why, because in SQLite, there's a couple of things. There's one thing where the SQLite is in normal mode or in legacy mode, and it's open bar. It's almost like JavaScript. Yeah, you put everything everywhere, and then you try to like coalesce type and everything. So you get into a tricky part here. And then you have a strict mode, which is not really fully strict a la Postgres, but it's strict enough to be good enough. Yeah? So it's pretty decent. Yeah. Now, I had another things in my example. Yeah, I don't need. Okay. So this is pretty good. So now, let's say that we want that, and now. So I have my little stories that I had, and before, for example, my story is I had these things, and I don't want it's too cheesy in a way, with agents and creating agent and model and stuff. But it add more complexity. I think the dumb is the new smart. Yeah. So finding something that we can all wrap our head around, it's good. So we have that. So I like these examples better. And then we are going to do these two guys where I don't. So this is the thing is, in my example, I don't need to have person in simple. I just want to show how we can execute and put data in. So the thing I had in my other guy, which was a simple guy, I had something like that. Sorry, I'm trying to get organized here a little bit. I had something like that where, no. Okay, I get it. Sorry, I'm looking at the thing. Okay, this is what I want. This is cool. Well, we're going to do that. Okay. So that is to understand. So again, the way I like to learn is really step by step. So if I don't want to introduce struct and everything right now, the only thing I want to say is to say, okay, we execute a thing. So create schema. Sorry. So we do the create schema, and then we're going to run that. So now we're going to insert here. So that was my previous code here. So we are going to change it, insert name. So I think this guy is going to be good over there. We're going to name, we're going to say John or Jennifer. And then year stuff, that's 2000. That's round, this looks good to me. And then the other one, we're going to not give anything, okay? So the name and the stuff, and so now we want the name and we want the year of birth. and then we press staff compiles, and it doesn't complain. Okay, so that is pretty cool. And now, and again, the way I'm learning right now is I just want to do the minimum to get data in and get data out. So to get the data out, this is what I think. I'm going to do a select. And so again, I had my own kind of XP stuff, and I'm trying to clean it up to make a good story when I do the video. Yeah, so that is the subject of this live, of this video, to do the video. So that's why I'm taking time to think slowly in a way. So I'm going to say id.name, agent.name, and then year of birth. Okay, wait a sec. Okay. So now, okay, give me a sec. Okay, sorry about that. So I should be back. And then, so what I'm going to do here is select agent. So that is obviously not agent, it's going to be person. And then that I'm going to do a where, and I'm going to do a year of birth. Yeah, just to see that. I have the name. I'm going to have this one, person. And that should be pretty okay. And that will be the year of birth. And then I'm going to say 1900. So even me can be selected. And so now I'm going to press save. Invalid parameters, year of birth. That is interesting. Okay, good question to let the tool create the migration, test them properly, change them if necessary. Yeah, that could work. And I have you libsql, the fork of SQLite. That is a good question about the fork of SQLite. For me, SQLite, I mean, I've been using it. I have actually a cool app that I did in 2024 that I would love to release open source, which is my reboot of Awesome App, but I need to clean up the code. Works with SQLite, and it's just amazing. I mean, the SQLite stuff, it's super cool, and they have JSON and JSONB now. It's a gem. So for me, it's cool that they fork things in Rust. It's awesome, but it's at least 2 to 3 years away before I put it in production or for my serious stuff, because SQLite fits so well, and it works so well with Rust, with Rust Sqlite, that for me, I don't see the value of taking the risk of taking a fork. Yeah. Now, I found that super cool that they are doing it. It's always cool to have some bold move like that. So I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying, for me right now, SQLite is a guy. So now, I'm sorry about this. I don't know why. Embedded parameter name. That doesn't make sense because oh, sorry. My mistake. Oh, this is this guy. Boom. Now it works. So we don't see the data, yeah, but now it doesn't compile, it doesn't complain and everything. So it actually is working pretty nice. And we still have our hello world and stuff. So I like to have the hello world. And so when I say it works, it's because I do a command S. Yeah, I have bacon or cargo watch here that runs. So basically, if it doesn't complain, everything is fine. So that is the way I like to do things. And the reason why I have this for now, and by the way, I mean, here's XP, yeah, so it's no big deal. But when I do my libs and everything, and sometimes I forget, but always commenting out, because Clippy is amazing. It gives you some very good hint when you are missing stuff and everything. And sometimes you can find bug because you didn't use a variable and you say, oh yeah, I should have used it, I still have. So this Clippy stuff and the tool chain of Rust is just amazing. So that's why Rust is really the whole thing. Sometimes people are just looking at the value of the borrow checker, which is huge, but it's Rust, the value of Rust is a whole package. And I think it's out there. Now, there's a cost, but you know, if there's something free, let me know. We'll use it. So this is pretty cool, this mini stuff. And so that is when we are going to now we want to print the rows. And so that's where my cool little utility was awesome. But we're going to recode my little utility. So I'm going to do a print like that, print rows. And what we're going to do the dirty way right now. Yeah, I don't know if I want to bug you with all of this. Okay, I'm thinking. Okay, so I don't want to do that in this because that is way too advanced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this code that I have over there. So usually I don't like to do that, but you're going to see things is going to add up. So what I don't want, well, we can do something like this. We can do for row in rows. I think this should work. And otherwise, okay. While let sum row, and I think is rows dot next. Okay, so this will be a mute, obviously. And question mark, and then we do this. And then right now, I don't want to be too smart. I just want to do that. Cool. Okay, I get one guy, which is one row. I'm happy. So when I code all the time, it's all about iteration for me. Yeah, I'm trying to iterate to make minutes, seconds, milliseconds. So as much I can iterate as fast. Now I'm going to be optimistic here to say, hey, did the guy did a debug one? He did. Awesome. So now I have this one, which is pretty cool. So that I didn't need my big fancy tool. So this is a cool thing. Now, the way you can get the value out, let's say we wanted to get name. So you say let name equal, and there's a from SQL to SQL, I think, business. And we're going to have string, I think. And you say row get one. And you do like that. Not a wait. Oh, cool. And that didn't complain. So if we do name, that is a row, boom, gen. That's pretty cool. So you have to know the type, yeah? So if I do I32, it's going to be a kaboom, yeah? Because invalid code name. And the error is pretty nice. So that's cool. So now we have this. And in a way, I can say, you know, I'm happy with that. I show I can print the row and debug. And I show I can get the name. And then, you know, when I do this code, this XP stuff, by the way, it's for the videos, but it's for myself as well. Such as in 6 months when I come back, I want to find back my duck. And so in my head, I'm saying, hey, you know, this is good enough. This is good for the 01, C01 simple. That is good enough. Yeah. And so what I did, okay, this is the next step. So once I do that, I'm going to say, well, I'm going to have multiple examples, and I don't want to have to copy that all the time. And this is the reason why I have my lib.rs, because now I can go to lib.rs, and then I'm going to have a function here, which is going to be pub fn create schema. I'm going to take the connection, which is going to be the connection, and then I'm going to return my famous result. So I did a video on the best practice, my best practice of errors. And this, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm not going to put that. I'm going to have modules here. I'm going to have mod db utils. And I'm going to have something like that. One RT, I think it's like this, type, result type. Okay, so now this is what I did a video on that. So when I start the code for my XP and everything, I always use boxed-in. I don't use anyhow. The reason why I'm not a big fan of anyhow is because it puts your code in a different path. That's what you want to have in production. And I'm not really sure that the anyhow for app and this error for lib is a good thing, because I think the error system of Rust is pretty good. And anyhow make it a little bit a special beast. Yeah, it's a different model. So at least that's my approach. So I like, but at the same time, so I like it, but at the same time, I don't want to have to define my errors and everything. In fact, we're very lucky because the boxed-in error is super flexible. There's all of the from and the into. So like when I code with stuff like any errors, I can into it. And then you can into any static string or dynamic string or whatever. So on string and so on. So it's very flexible. It's almost as flexible as anyhow, not as much, but good enough. And then it's very close to production, because then after you just change your error and you put a type 1 and then you're all in. So I did a video about this. So now what I can do is I'm going to go to my DB utils. I'm going to create this beast, save it. Then I'm going to create a function here, create schema. And then the stuff that I have there, I'm going to put it, and this one is going to be a pub. And then I'm going to put that there. Okay, that is this. And this one usually is not that good at finding the thing for whatever reason. So I have something like that. Okay, so now we have that, and so that is pretty cool. Yeah, we have our create things, and now I can go back, and I'm going to do create schema. That's the DB util I want, and then that's it. Question mark. Tough. So, oh, sorry. Okay. So this way, I kind of simplify the things, and when I'm going to copy things again and again, is going to be good. Now, on the create schema, I can do two things. So what we have seen here is, look, we have the year of birth, and the year of birth is an integer, okay? And here we are going to be back to HTML days. You're going to see. So here I'm being nice, yes? I say the name is a string and the number is this guy. So now let's see what happened when I put this guy as a string. And I think you probably need to put a reference of a string. We're going to put 2000. Then we put 2000. And then 2010. Okay, and then it's been an integer. So that's okay. We put a string, it was integer, SQLite changed it to integer. So that is okay. Now let's say that we go this one and we put our 111 here. And I think this one, it will be something like that. And now we do a text of 111, okay? So the problem here is funny because before it was almost, sometimes it was putting integer. But basically this is not strict. So what you can add, you go back to the table over there and you add strict and then you press save. Sorry, and that should have complained. There's something. So this is why there's something here going on. So the nice thing here is we put a number and even a strict mode. So I'm going to break it here in purpose. Okay, just to make sure that this one is taking into account. So I like to do that. Sometimes I like to break stuff to make sure. So there's something here interesting. So now let me check. There's a difference between the two where anyway we want strict, we don't want strict. I'm trying to show the difference here. So the nice thing here about this one is we have the name text and the year of birth integer. So at least the number. Now, if I put this, which is not a number, it complains, cannot store text in a value. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, if I go to my DB utils, and then I remove the strict, and I press save, boom, it works. Okay? So that is the reason why. I mean, if there's SQL expert here, you know better, people that have been implementing SQL for 5 years and stuff, you know better than me, yeah? Because, but like for me, coming from a Postgres and stuff, that is a big no-no because now you have a type. The table year of birth is not always integer. Sometimes can be integer, sometimes cannot be integer, depends on what you pass. And it's very tricky, yeah, because if you pass, let's say 2010, 20 string, you get back the integer because that was an integer and that could do the thing. And then if you pass something like this stuff. So basically is, and if you do something, and then this one is always a string. Yeah. So on the text, at least when it's text is always a string. Yeah. So that is easy, yeah, for the database. So the trick here is that we do not really want these kind of things because it will be very hard to manage if you have every type. So what you want to do is to say, okay, I'm going there, I'm going always to add strict to my table. And so now it's going to complain, which is good, which is what we want. Now, we know that we are not in Postgres land because when we give a string at 220, then it's going to work because that string is a valid number, get converted to a number, and then that's it. So when we say strict in SQLite, what SQLite means by strict is mean that the type of the column is strict. But there is some coalescing or whatever we want to call it, which is if you give me a string that I can put it as a number, I'm all good. It will be a number. Yeah. So hopefully that makes sense to some. Okay. So that is a pretty good one that we have. And so now we have learned what is a strict and why we want a strict. Okay. So that is the things. The next one here, so usually what I will do is I will do something like that. So I'm pretty happy with this one. And in fact, what I'm going to do right now, the DB utils, I'm going to do something like that and say create table with S. And then we're going to say print utils. And those are the guys that will probably go back to my crate when I'm going to update it. And I'm just going to copy it there. But the whole thing is, the whole SQLite, the Rust Sqlite is pretty cool. So I'm going to use it over there. And so what that, it allows you to print a table. So you give a connection and the table name, and then it will print it in a nice way. And then you can print also a select statement. So that's nice because you can print it and it will print it, and it's nice. And all the magic happen in this function. So I get the rows. And then in SQLite, it's pretty cool where you can get the statement. And so this one is called, I need to save it. This is this guy. This is this guy. Oh no. Table builder. Oh no. No, sorry. So this guy I'm using that one is pretty cool. So this is what I'm using in the other crate, which is table. And so that is a nice little utility to allow you to print data in a table. So this builder here, I was importing another builder. This is why. Import builder, and we don't want the thread builder, we want that builder. So the tab. And now it works. So basically I'm using this tab builder, table builder to print the data. And then I have this little thing over there that look at the type. Okay, that look at the type and then print it. And then I go to the row cells. So that is the row cells of the table builder. Yeah. And then it prints it over there. And that works very nicely. So then once I have that, oh no. Oh, okay, fair enough. Put it in dev dependencies, and here is in the lib. So actually, in this case, you don't really have dev dependencies because I want it in the lib. And then style. Oops, sorry. Okay. So now I can do that. I can get the name, print the name. And the row here, rather to be boring, I can do now that function, which is going to be a print table. Okay. Do a print table of dbutils, and we do the table, which is person. Okay, fair enough. Oh, sorry. Connection. And like this. Boom. And then we have a nice little table like that. So it's nice here because we can see, you know, all the types and everything. And so when it's a string, it's stuff and otherwise like that. So it's pretty nice. So now we have that. And so typically what I do at this stage, I'm going to, I didn't do it before, but git init. And I'm going to do a git add dot. So I make sure that everything which is in green makes sense. Git c initial C01. And in fact, to be clear, what I'm going to do is then I will rename main to another branch, and then the main will be from initial, such as I can do the demo when I code. Yeah. So now we have that. So we're going to do the second one we're going to do is the join here. So the way I do it, that now I have this beacon simple, make sure that it runs. I'm going to, don't need that, git amend, and then I'm going to take this one, copy it, and then C02, and we're going to learn about the join, okay? So this is what we're going to do on this one. I have to reload window, or close it and open it. I'm going to do a beacon C02 join. So I should work, nicely. That's fine. And now in my join, what I'm going to do is I want to create the schema, but I want to have two tables. So we're going to have to be creative here. I had another example before. So if I have person, so in my head, I don't want group because group is a many-to-many, and I don't want to go there yet. So I'm trying to find something that will be relatively simple and doesn't have things. I'm going to go, yeah, okay, that's fine. Org. Yeah, org name. And then we have, so that will be the organization. And so in many ways, we do like that. Right now, we're not going to do, we could do foreigner keys, but we're not going to do that right now. And then I'm going to, FK relationships things. So the problem in SQLite compared to Postgres is when you do keys here, as you do some foreign keys over there, the problem is that you cannot alter table to change dependency between tables. So it's a little bit tricky. So you have to recreate the tables and everything. So hopefully one day they are going to fix that. I think it's harder than what it sounds. So obviously they know about it, but it's a little bit a tricky part. So right now we're going to assume that a user belongs to one and only one organization. Typically, you don't have that. Typically, it's tricky to have that because if you have that, this means that you cannot have someone that has the same account and can help different organizations for, something. But in this case, it's good enough. So that will be the thing. And now, in the join, we're going to create the org. Then we're going to create the person with the org. So we're going to have okay. We're going to have org, and then we have the name, and then we can go kind of a nostalgic stuff. Acme company. So that was, I don't know why, when I came here, Silicon Valley, back in the 90s, every time people were talking about Acme as a sample company. And I don't even know what Acme means. But I follow stuff. So that is a reference. Okay. No? Oh, okay. Don't forget to put that, the tuple, because otherwise it's not a tuple. Yeah, so you have to do that. Even if it's a tuple of one, you need to make sure that it ends with things. So that created the org, and that created the person. Now the reason why is, why does it complain? Cartoon. A company that makes everything. Yeah, cartoon. Acme is cartoon. So I'm confused here. Near. Oh, I'm not confused. I know what it is. Go to my DB utils. And yeah, I always do that. Every time I write something, I put a comma at the end. Every single time. So I put the org, I put the things, and okay. This one is going to be interesting. There's a way here of having a returning ID, because what we want is recreate the org, and we can say, okay, print. By the way, it's weird here. This was, okay, that was wrong, yeah. If I print the table, I don't want to print it to every row. That would be silly. Yeah, so I print it here and then that. And so that is the same thing there. And I don't need that actually. We are growing up. And then I'm going to print org, okay? So when you create, when we create something like this in SQLite, the ID, I think, is guaranteed kind of to be 1. But anyway, it's not something we should assume anywhere. But that is 1, and then the first one will be 1. So the thing I'm saying is to say, well, we could do year of birth and then org. Actually, I'm going to also fix this one. Oh no, I fixed it. No, I want to fix this one to be correct. So usually what I do, because I already have my chapter, when I do my videos, I don't really care too much about the commits. The commits are not the story. So here, this one, all of this would get fixed on the next one, which is fine. And then I would check that it works. So for the join here, I can assume that this one is 1, but it's bad. But I'm going to do that, let org ID equal 1. But then to do needs returning ID. So this guy here needs to have a returning ID. And so rather to do like this, we'll do another way where we need to do the return ID, and I need to look at it. So that is a way, and this one is complete. Yeah, org, that makes sense. No, okay, no. Yeah, I'm sorry. Org ID. And we're going to have a question of org ID. That is what we're going to have. And the value 3 colon, I'm sorry, I'm being slow here. So name, yeah, fair enough. 2, 3, and that will be Jen, and that will be 2020. Oh, not that young. She works in an organization now. Okay, so we have Acme, and we have, if we were going to print person, we have person. That's pretty cool. Now, the first thing that I want is, so obviously this will work, yes? We could write the join to do these kind of things. But the problem is, it will be better to have the returning ID on this guy. So I'm going to see if I have. Yeah, that is a way. So what I typically do in my application when I use SQLite is obviously all of these things, I have helpers for it. Yeah. So the way we do that when we insert, I'm going to do this way. We do a prepare. So rather to do things like that, we're going to do a prepared. That will prepare our statement. And that's good. So that was an example that I have on JSONB. And then I'm sorry. Yeah. And then we have the statement. So there's different ways of executing in SQLite with Rust Sqlite. One way is execute, and you basically get back something, but you get back the number of rows that you have changed, I think, that you have inserted. Or changed, because it could be a SQL or something like that. So I think this is the stuff here. Return on success, return the number of rows that were changed and inserted or via deleted. Okay, so far so good. Acme was a brand of all of the weapons the coyote was buying. Oh! Okay. So the name came from that? That's pretty cool. Okay. So now we have that. Why does this guy is complaining? Prepare. Well, if I start misspelling. Okay. So we do the prepare statement, and then we do a query row. So there's different ways of querying in Rust Sqlite. And so execute, return the number of things, and query row is basically return one row, I think. We're going to look at it. Convenience method to execute a query that is expected to return a single row. So that is what we want. Yes, because we want to return only one row. So that is good. So we're going to go back here. I'm sorry, I'm going back to this guy. Yeah. And then yeah, sorry, I'm getting. So we want, no, we want the name here. So the name is Acme Inc. And then that's it. And it's a tuple. And then what we are returning here is we get a get of 0, and we do a I64. And if we press save, that should compile. That's cool. And now if we remove that and we call that org ID, press save, no row. Oh, okay, fair enough. I'm sorry, it compiles, but it is saying no row. But that's normal because we didn't do returning ID. Hey, cool. So that's it. So now we have a thing here, which is what you will use. Again, I have some utilities here that allows us to do, you know, these kind of things when you have only one ID. This is a very common part to do that. So you can fix that. It's a little tricky here because you have to look at this type of the params, and you want to have the same type, because that is the way it does its magic. And then we do execute. So now we have the two tables and we have the things and stuff. And then the way we are going to do a select here is up. I might join over there. I had something. Oh yeah, sorry. The chat. Chat is cool, but code is better. So I'm telling you what I'm thinking about in my examples that I have for myself. And again, my goal is to have this one taking over what I did for myself. So in my example, what I did is I did a for loop of multiple items, and because of multiple users. Okay, so I had one org is fine, but then after I wanted to have multiple users. So what I'm going to do is something like that, and it's going to look a little bit weird, yeah? But I'm going to do a for I in. Well, actually, let's do like this. Let names. Okay, and then we're going to have something like this, which is Jane, Mike, and what about Paul? Paul is nice, and Pierre. So like this, we even out. Okay, so we have this 4 people, and then we do a 4 names in names, and then we're going to do something like that. And today, they're all going to be part of the same org. Yeah? We can be fancier later. Yeah, will be fancier. I might change that to. Yeah, I might change it later because it's nice to be able to see users in different stuff. Okay, one thing I'm going to do is something like this. It's going to look weird, but modulo 2. Yeah, is even in Rust? I don't even know. The reason why I do this for now, because I want to go step by step. The reason why, yeah, I will use bulk insert, but this one is, I want to go step by step, so I don't want to use too many features at once. I think bulk, this is good. I don't have bulk example in my stuff. I should have it. So I will add it. This is a good thing. So the recording of the stream, so I'm sorry. So the bulk, I will do another kind of example for that, another C something. Will it be a recording of the screen? So the goal of the screen, and it's pretty long right now. I don't know how long it is, 1 hour 7, is going to be unlisted for a day or 2, and then it will go to my Livestream members. I have a Livestream members on YouTube, so you can click join, and you will have that indefinitely. Otherwise, these streams, I make them public, and then you can use them whenever you want. I mean, public, and then I put it unlisted, so the URL will still work for 24 hours, at least. And then eventually it will go to the Livestream members. So that is the way I'm planning these days. So I'm going to do that, and this is not elegant. I'm not happy with it. I'm not proud of myself. But right now I have some guys with org and some with none. Okay. Later I want to know how to do new, but I'm not sure yet to do new. Or can we try it? We're going to try it actually. This is yeah, I think if Rust Sqlite was cool, they would have done something like that. Less org ID, and then we do it like this. If even there's probably a smarter way here. If I have clippies, if we go, and then we're going to do a if is sum of org ID and else none. Okay, so we try that. And rather to have this ugly stuff, we have that. Boom. Boom. Oh, that's compile time, so that's cool. Yeah. Does it work? Yeah, it works. Okay, that's much better. I don't look that dumb. Okay, so that's pretty cool. When we put a none, it does the things and stuff. So that is what we did. And so now we can do a join that will do the right thing. So on the join part, there's two ways of doing it. One is being smart and doing it by hand. And then the other one is I'm going to do something like that. Okay. So I'm going to copy. I have the join already there. So obviously that is not agent. So we want that will be person. We need the ID here of birth. And then we're going to have the org. And that will be the org name. And then for now, we don't need that. That will be person. That will be org person. Could have done it smarter. So that will be my query. And you know what? I think I can do something like that. All the time. Crazy. That's it. That's pretty cool. Does it work? Does it work? Yeah, so I printed everything. Okay. So here I did a join. Yeah, it works. I did a join, and the reason why it works is because the other orgs were null. The org ID was null. So in fact, kind of work, but it kind of not. Yes, because if, for example, I would have said, and here I can put a silly number, yeah, 1, 2, 3. I would have done that, then okay, now I don't understand it. Oh, yeah, because, no, okay, so that's good. Well, it's interesting, it doesn't fail. The 1, 2, 3 doesn't point to anything. So the join, since I'm using inner joins or whatever, it doesn't find any org, and so it's not a qualified row. Okay. Now, the things that I really want to do, so I want this one to be a known. And now the thing that I want to do, but on the print select, I don't think I can pass parameters. So I didn't go crazy on this guy to pass parameters and everything, because the parameters, they can get tricky with the things. So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, which for me is never an option, so even in my example code, is not an option. I won't do it. I will type it here, but even that hurts me. Is to do a format like that and do an org ID like that. Press save that, but that. Sorry, that's silly. Then I do a where. org.id equal that equal org ID. Okay. Oh, sorry. That's a string, so I need to pass it as a reference. Boom, that works. Yeah, because it's that. But for me, I mean, I did it here for the video, but I never do that. I hate doing this kind of things. Because when I do this kind of things, this is, you know, the recipe for SQL injection. You need to be super careful and everything. It's not worthwhile, you know, the thing. So for me, this is always static. This is why they have this way of doing stuff. Yeah, so now I have the query. Now this one is going to complain here because the parameters is not found. Okay, so that won't really work. So now what we can do is we can prepare the statement like that guy. And this will conclude the session here. So if you have any question, feel free to ask, because there's a delay here. So feel free to ask a question. And then once that works, that will conclude it. And I will probably do another live stream tomorrow or something to continue that, because I need to continue all my little stories. And then I will make the video, and then the video will be... So this is also the question here. The answer to that question is I will do the Rust SQLite video, which will be a 20-minute video. So this is, in a way, I'm sharing the making of, the way I'm doing those videos. I'm thinking in my head. And so here I'm writing the script in a way of the video. And there's still things that I'm going to change, but that is the way I want to explain things. And so now we are going to do this. So we have the query over there, which is nice. And then I'm going to have my org ID, which is going to be org ID. And I think it has to be a reference. Okay, that complained, that doesn't complain. Okay, so far so good. And now we have the rows. And I think in my other cool libraries, I have something. Oh, I have print rows here. That's pretty cool. So this is why I did it. So like this, you can print the select. Otherwise, you can make your rows and then I can print rows. That's pretty cool. I might actually do that in the tutorial. I don't know. So, meaning inlining the code, such as people can goof around with the code, rather to having a separate crate. So I don't know yet. So the thing I'm saying is we have the rows, and now we can do a print rows, because we have it. Rows. Boom. That works pretty good. And if we had a let, so when it works too easy, I'm always skeptical. And then nothing. So that works pretty well. 1, 2, 3, nobody. This guy, somebody. It's pretty cool. Okay. So I think that is going to conclude this live session. This live session, I'm going to keep it unlisted. That means that if you have the URL, you can watch it back. And then I will probably put it for the Livestream members indefinitely. So that will be, I think, the goal of this one, because it was pretty productive today. Again, usually when I code myself, it's not to defend myself, but I'm a little bit faster because, you know, when you code live, it's always a little bit more constraints and your brain goes all over the place. But I think we made pretty good progress today with Rust Sqlite and SQLite. And then we'll do another session sometime tomorrow, and it will be the same thing. I'm also putting them on Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, you can bypass a little bit. You can get the live stream. If you missed it, I will keep it again for 24 hours. So tomorrow, midday or on day, you can check the things. And if you get my tweet, then you can watch it for 24 hours and something like that. Okay. I hope everybody enjoyed that. I did. And then hopefully we'll do another session tomorrow to continue this kind of things. We'll probably have the next one will be JSON and then JSON-B, and then we'll show how to map with structs and everything. Yeah, so that will be the kind of 5-6 chapters, I think, on this one. And then there will be probably another video. So I will make the video out of that. And then there will be another video probably later with SQLite that I'm using. So I'm not a big fan of ORM. They constrain me too much, but I'm a big fan of Query Builder. And SQLite is a pretty good query builder. It has some drawbacks. Sometimes when you write joins, it gets very, very hard to parse for human. But the benefit is everything is fully typed. And so that is one way. And then I have another thing, which is ModQL, which has a way of allowing having MongoDB-like JSON query that will translate to SQLite or everything. So it's pretty cool. And so that will be probably in a phase 2. But tomorrow we'll continue to do the JSON, JSON-B, and then the struct business. Okay, until next one, happy coding.